Hello, boys and girls. We are going to jump right into our math lesson today. We are going to be dividing whole numbers and decimals by whole numbers. So we had a lesson in the past where we divided decimals by whole numbers, and this is really similar, except our decimals are going to have numbers in the ones and tens place, as well as the tenths and hundredths place. So let's go ahead and get started. My first problem that I have is 5 and 68 hundredths divided by 4. It's already actually set up in the house for us, so we don't have to do that first step that we talked about last time. So I'm going to go right to my second step, which is bringing that decimal straight up to the roof. And now we'll start dividing just like normal, and we'll say 5 divided by 4 is 1. So I put my 1 up top. 1 times 4 is 4. So I'll subtract. 5 minus 4 is 1. Now my next step is to bring down this 6. And I say 16 divided by 4 is what? 4. So I move to my next place value, which is my tenths place, and put that 4 right on top. And I said 4 times 4 was 16. I subtract and get 0. My next step is to bring down my hundredths place, which is that 8. And 8 divided by 4 is 2. My 2 goes on top. 2 times 4 is 8. I subtract. I get 0. I don't have anything else to bring down, and my remainder is 0. So that means I have found my answer, which is 1 and 42 hundredths. Remember, your first step is to set up the division problem, which was already done for us. Second step is to bring that decimal straight to the roof. Then you start dividing just like that decimal's not there. You divide, multiply, subtract, and then you bring down your next place value number. So we are going to do this next one together. We have 34 and 1/10 divided by 22. Just like our last problem, it's already set up in the house for us. We're going to take that decimal straight up to the roof before we do anything else because we don't want to forget about it. And I want you to go ahead right now and pause this video so that you are able to work this problem out and then come back and see if you got it correct. Hey guys, welcome back. So we are going to start by saying 3 divided by 22. We can't do that, right? So we put a 0 up top. We multiply. 0 times 22 is 0. We subtract. 3 minus 0 is 3. And we bring down our next number, which is 4. Now we say 34 divided by 22 is 1 because 22 times 1 is 22. We will subtract 22 from 34. 4 minus 2 is 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. And we know that 12 is smaller than 22, so that means it could only go into it once, not more than once. Our next step is to bring down that 1. How many times does 22 go into 121? If you don't know, you can set up some multiplication on the side. We'll start with 4. 22 times 4 is 88. Need to keep going. So I'm going to jump to, let's say, 7. 7 times 2 is 4. I'm going to carry that 1. 7 times 2 is 14. Oh, I said 4. It's 14. I dropped the 4 and carried the 1. And then 7 times 2 is 14 plus 1 is 15. So I went too high. So I'm going to go down to 6 and see what 22 times 6 is. 6 times 2 is 12. Drop the 2, carry the 1. 6 times 2 is 12 plus 1 is 13. I'm still too high. So I'm going to go down to 5. 22 times 5. 5 times 2 is 10. Bring down that 0. Carry that 1. 5 times 2 is 10. Plus 1 is 11. So it looks like it goes into it 5 times, right? So I'm going to put my 5 up top. And we said that 22 times 5 was 110. So let's subtract those numbers. 1 minus 0 is 1. 2 minus 1 is 1, and 1 minus 1 is 0. Now, what do you do with that 11? Just like in a normal division problem, when you don't know what to do, because when you have a decimal, guess what? You cannot have a remainder when you have a decimal. So instead of putting a remainder of 11, we can add a 0 behind this 1, because if you remember, as many zeros as we add to the end of the decimal, it doesn't change the value of that number. So we're going to add a 0, and instead of having nothing to bring down because we still have a remainder, we're going to bring down that 0. I am actually going to erase the side and start us on the side so that our problem comes together. So I will be back in just a second once I have it all reset up. All right, you guys, I'm back. So all I did was moved our 110 up here so that we can start fresh coming down, because my whiteboard is just not quite long enough to continue this problem. So we put that 0 here. We brought it down. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry about that, guys. It's just like you're in actual school with announcements and interruptions and everything, right? So like I was saying, I just moved that 110 right over here so that we can keep subtracting. We put that extra 0 here because adding zeros to the end of a number behind our decimal does not change the value, so that we can end up with a remainder of 0. Because remember, if we have a decimal in our dividend and in our quotient, we cannot have a remainder. So we have 110, and didn't we just figure out that 110 divided by 22 is 5? We did. So 110 divided by 22 is 5, and it goes right above that 0 that we just added. And we say 5 times 22 is 110. We subtract, and 110 minus 110 is 0. Now we have a remainder of 0. So we are done, and we found out that our answer is 1.55, or 1 55 hundredths. So remember, when you have a decimal, can you have a remainder? No, you cannot. You have to add that 0 and keep going until you get a remainder of 0. All right, guys, you have a short assignment right below this. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I cannot wait to see you tomorrow.